16 minutes, 30 seconds past 9. It's 30 degrees out there. And Pat Cahill is here from Buffalo Ridge Defense. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Bob.
Well, the last time you were supposed to be on, you missed, and you were a traveler.
I was on a family vacation. We were skiing out there, and it was a great time, and we didn't get back in time, so I messed up. I screwed the schedule up. So.
Oh, well, you're here now.
I'm on. I appreciate that.
So it says on this sheet, situational awareness is your best first line of defense. What is situational awareness?
Situational awareness is like being a defensive driver for people that drive their cars. You're watching everything in front of you, everything around you. You're watching the other guy, the car behind you, the car in front of you, the car next to you. Situational awareness when it comes to personal defense and family defense and safety is just paying attention to your surroundings. You know, doing things that you can do to be situationally aware. Things that distract from that are like walking with your head buried deep into your cell phone and you're texting or watching a TV program and not watching where you're walking and walking out into traffic. This situational awareness is really twofold. One, you have to be situationally aware to recognize something that might be a threat or something that might go wrong.
Sure.
You know, that's why we watch the car in front of us and we have a safe enough distance. It's called the reactionary gap. So if that car runs into a brick wall, we can take the appropriate response so we don't run into it. Right? Well, situational awareness first means that we have to recognize there's a threat. But that's not where it ends. So we have to know there's a threat, or we have to know there's something wrong or something doesn't seem right. But then we have to react to it. You know, a deer in the headlights, when you see that, when a deer runs out in front of your car at night in the headlights, the deer turns his head, he looks right at the car. He sees the threat.
Yep.
But he doesn't do anything. He doesn't react. So he just gets run over.
Yeah,
right?
Sure does.
And so it's a situational awareness, conflict avoidance. That's really what all personal safety and having a home defense plan and a personal defense plan to protect yourself and your loved ones is really all about. And it takes recognizing the threat and then being prepared to react to it. And when I say threat, that doesn't mean a bad guy with a big stick that wants to beat you up. The threat
could be anything.
The threat could be a fire.
Sure.
The threat could be ice on the sidewalk that you're going to fall and break a hip, right?
Yep.
The threat could be anything that's going to cause you harm or pain, or your loved ones harm or pain.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of like, I joke, it's like setting your glass of hot coffee on the edge of the counter, just waiting for someone to knock it off.
Yeah.
Well, legacy knowledge would tell you that that's not a good thing. Situationally,
amen.
Someone could knock that off, right?
Yeah, they should.
So you have to be there. When it comes to home defense and personal safety of your family, especially in a rural area. Now, we're in Amory.
Yep.
So this isn't rural. We're in the city of Amory, right?
We are in the city.
So this is a little different, but wherever you live, whether it's Indian Creek, whether it's Amory, whether it's Barron, whether it's Turtle Lake, whether it's Lorraine, whether it's Deronda, right?
Joel.
Any of those places, the first line of defense, of course, is situation awareness, is looking for things that could go wrong or might be wrong. The second thing is, if you need help and you call 911, you have to understand the unique emergency response times for whoever's coming.
Yeah.
Whether that's the fire department, the ambulance service, the police department, whoever that is.
Takes a certain amount of time.
It takes some time. Now, we live in a city that has 24-hour police protection.
Yep.
But that's as long as they're here.
Yeah.
What if they brought someone to the jail and they're
Exactly.
you know,
Yep.
15, 20
Because
minutes.
oftentimes they can be gone for mutual aid for another department.
And then you might have 20, you know.
Yeah.
I think we're safe in town here saying 15 minutes. First responders for medical emergency, other things, 15 minutes or less.
Yeah.
But knowing that, you have to prepare. Can I do the first aid? Can I do the things I need to do for that 15 minutes? Can I do the life-saving things I need for 15 minutes? And that, until the EMS gets there, can take over. Now, if you're in Lorraine Township and you call for help up in Clam Falls or somewhere, and the closest deputy that's working is in East Farmington, that's a half-hour drive.
That's right.
And so you have to understand that. The second thing you have to do is you have to be able to lock your doors, right? Lock your doors of your cars, of your buildings, of your homes. If doors have locks, they should be locked, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why they're there.
That's why they're there, because that will also help prevent people from walking in.
Yeah.
But understanding situational awareness, now when people get so many packages in the mail, ask what they want. You call 911 and get the appropriate response there to see who's outside. Hide your hide key in your home. You don't put it above the door like most people do. Understanding awareness is your first line of defense. That's what's going to keep you from getting hurt, keep you from tripping on the ice, keep you from doing, walking into a burning building. Some of the things you do, and it becomes a new normal. But really, is you engage your senses. If you're walking into a building and you smell smoke, right? Then you got to ask yourself, do I want to keep going in there? Could this building be on fire?
Should I get out of here and call somebody?
Right. If you're walking to your car at night and you hear glass breaking, do you say, I wonder what's breaking and go look at it? Or you say, no, I'm going to go back in and go away from the sound of the breaking glass, right? If you hear someone screaming and fighting, do you want to see if it can be a YouTube hero and take a picture of the fight? Or do you go to somewhere that's safe for you and your family and call 911 and report it? Those are the appropriate things to do, because I don't care how big you are, how tough you are. If you want to go hands-on and physically try to break a fight up, there's always a bigger bear. And someone's
and they don't play fair.
They don't. And you could lose that fight. There's always a greater chance.
One that I see here that I just always trust your gut.
Absolutely.
Because if it looks wrong to you, it probably is wrong.
If it looks wrong to you, if the hair on the back of your neck is standing up, if you're still scared, you don't say, well, this stranger, this situation looks really scary. Well, I'm going to overcome my fears and go in there anyway. No,
man.
You just turn around and leave, that's one of the main things. One of the things you can do for your home and your family, and this is something that's really overlooked, is you should have a family code word. That family with me, or can you help me do this? They said I should pick you up. And they don't know the person. Well, first of all, they're going to stay away from them a little bit, but strangers can be really convincing. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Come with, especially
and kids are trusting.
Right, kids are trusting. So you have to teach your kids ahead of time, what's your family code word? I mean, when our family, a code word could be something like red elephant. So when that stranger comes up to them and says, your dad wants me to pick you up and take you here because he's tied up at work, he can look at him and go, did he tell you to tell me anything? If he says no, they know enough to run right back into the business, run back into the school, run away from that person. Right?
Gotcha.
If they say, he said to say red elephant, well, then they're going to know that that family code word says that that's a safe person to go with.
Sure.
And they can. But the other thing that family code word does, if I'm with my family and I've got a bunch of little kids with me and I've trained or family members in our immediate family, if we're somewhere and I'll go, does that look like a red elephant over there? They know the moment I say red elephant that I've found something that I think is situationally wrong. And whatever I say next, turn and run, get down, get out of the car, get out of the building, whatever I say, they're not going to question, well, why do I want to do that? We're doing over here. They know that if the word anyone says red elephant, something's not right, and we're all going to react quickly to whatever is said after that.
It sounds to me here like a lot of this stuff is could be summed up in two words: be aware.
Be aware, and it's not live in fear. It's live aware, not in fear. Right?
Exactly.
Because if I'm aware, I don't have to live in fear.
That's right.
And and we adapt this strategic mindset of, I'm going to keep my head up and I'm going to keep my head on the swivel and look around. There's lots of things. I'm not going to go to the ATM at 1 o'clock in the morning behind the alley somewhere and take money out because the street person watching that goes, well, there's a good target. Let's rob him. He's got money. He just took it from the ATM. Right?
Yes, he did.
Inside the gas station or inside somewhere well lit, that's a different story. But
even then, if it's late at night, probably not a good idea.
No. And don't think that all bad things happen at night. I think most burglaries happen between 10 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon.
Is that right?
Because that's when people are gone from their home.
Oh, sure it is.
And that's when they're gone. So, all this stuff really boils down to living aware and not living in fear. And one of the things that we do besides people's home, we carry that on to churches, right? And we do a lot of safety seminars for free for churches. All they have to do is call Buffalo Ridge Defense, and we'll go there and do a 2-hour presentation on some of the things they can do to harden their perimeter. That doesn't make them impenetrable. Doesn't make them a fort.
Nothing's
They always have to
impenetrable.
be the doors. I mean, it's a balancing act because the doors of the church always have to be open to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ, and they need to be able to let people into the church, right?
Yep.
But there's lots of things they can do because there's bad people out there that want to hurt it. I'm a member
Always.
of the American Warrior Society. I mean, the Christian Warrior Society, and I'm a member of the American Warrior Society also, but the Christian Warrior Society. And every week we get a report of all the things that happen in churches, across the U.S., and all of the assaults, all of the shootings, all of the robberies, all of the sexual assaults, all of the things that happen. That we're blessed to live in a really low crime area that we don't see that.
Thank God.
But we don't live that far from the places that have those crimes.
No.
Right?
No, and I get a good
We're
lesson
just a
in
short
that
drive
a lot.
away.
Yep. I get a good lesson in that a lot because I talk to the sheriff a couple times a month, and he tells me about the things that come across the river that we know about, and he never tells me about the things we don't know about.
Well, of course you don't.
But
do
those
that.
are
I mean,
tough.
look at the papers and the local papers and the local radio stations that have news broadcasting on them. All of the drug arrests. I mean, there's many drug arrests. There's many
All the
assaults
time.
arrests that are happening. There's many people that have been indicted, for lots of crimes around.
Yeah.
But if you don't read the paper, if you go, well, I didn't know them, so it doesn't matter to me. Well,
It goes back to what you said. Be aware.
Be aware. Don't live where you're distrusting everyone, but be aware.
Yeah.
Live aware, not in fear.
Exactly.
So,
Pat, I'm gonna hang this up.
all right.
Because a lot of that stuff you don't think about. It's such a common way. You'll live your life the way you always have, and you really can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
or
when
you
you go
should.
to walk into your favorite gas station where you always get gas, if you simply just pause for a second and look, you already know, you're familiar with it, you know what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
If everyone's standing behind the counter with their hands up, that's a
You have a
clue
good idea
that you
something's wrong.
shouldn't go in there, right?
You're right. Pat, thanks for coming down and telling us about Buffalo Ridge Defense.
I appreciate
By the way,
appreciate
I've got
the
a
time.
question.
Yes.
Because you said you do this thing for churches.
Yes.
Are churches around pretty well aware, do you think, of the things that they should be doing?
I've spoken to several churches in the immediate area,
Sure.
and you can be aware, but not implement. All right.
I got you.
So education without
Yeah.
implementation is just entertainment. If they have me
Yeah.
come in for 2 hours, which they can, and when I get done with my presentation, and it's free,
Yeah.
and I get done with my presentation, I'm not trying to set up their security team or do anything else. But when I do the presentation to make them aware, I've just given them an education.
Yeah.
If they choose not to implement anything I've talked about, then education without implementation is just entertainment.
That's right.
And all I've done is entertain them. So there's a lot of them that are aware. They're aware that they should do something, but they haven't.
Whether
got
they
to.
are or not's a whole nother
Yeah.
thing.
You know what? You're aware that your gas tank is close to empty, but if you don't put gas in it, pretty soon you're going to run out.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Then you learn the lesson
Then
the
you
hard
learn
way.
the lesson. Get to walk.
Thanks, Pat.
All right.
Pat Cahill, Buffalo Ridge Defense, our guest this morning on the Coffee Klatch.